before we continue... I suppose we can't get a good look at the full body shadow. But look at these very detailed faces and bodies. Particularly what happens next.
Jesus Christ.
Once again, much like Isaac Clarke, he reacts to pretty much everything that happens.
What is wrong with this place?
Compared to in Resident Evil 7, where Ethan just kind of coasts on through without saying much.
What the fuck was that?
As you can see, the Lycans are perhaps the most varied enemy that this franchise has ever had. They look incredible. We are not going to fight this guy. We're going to run straight into here and just skip this battle. In Village of Shadows, enemies can take upwards of 40 standard bullets to kill with this handgun alone. It is unviable, and you need to save ammo for the next encounter. But by Capcom's own admission, the Lycans are meant to be the most varied enemy the series has ever had. And you'll see that as we encounter more and more of these Lycan types, but they are not the primary enemy. In fact, we're going to come across the major problem that a lot of complaints are levied against this game. This is a very difficult opening section, and the game only gets easier from here, which makes absolutely no sense. Much like Resident Evil 4, you can barricade hallways and shelves, though it's not used too much. Unfortunately, we've run into a bit of a problem. I only have 25 shots. We now have 40 shots. You are now immediately attacked and put into a kind of surrounded situation, much like in Resident Evil 4, but we are fighting with Louise. Here you're alone, and while you're meant to think you're gonna fight every single enemy, no, that's not really how it works. This is simply a precursor to what's possibly the most difficult section any Resident Evil game has ever had.
Surrounded. Damn it.
We're going to sit right here because there's no other way for you to be attacked other than one of the 4 entrances. You cannot be attacked from behind, and from this field of view, you'll see whichever one attacks you first. Now it's very important that you try to aim for the head as much as possible. But if you cannot, it's important that you just get your hits in and you shove. Whenever you block, especially in a one-on-one scenario, just shove the enemy away. Which is done by blocking, and then after you block an attack, press the block button again, and Ethan will shove the enemy away. And I sincerely hope I can kill this enemy within the 40 shots I've said I could. Otherwise, we are in for a very terrible time. Just like that. While I have missed a few shots, it is within the realm of possibility to kill one enemy in 30 to 40 shots.
Over?
Now you might be thinking, well, that was only the one enemy. Yeah.
Hello. If
They are
there
just that tough.
any survivors out there, come to Louise's house near the fields.
Survivors?
Incidentally, I believe in Shadows of REVillage of Shadows difficulty, there are far, far more enemies. If you look around, you can also hear there are more of these lichens kind of just watching you. And we're gonna open the map. This is the area of operation that you have for what's about to happen. In Resident Evil 4, the village is about this size. Right? Here you only get around, realistically, this. In Resident Evil 4's village, and how Resident Evil 4 works, Leon shoots an enemy in the head, he runs up and he kicks them. When he kicks them, he can kick the multiple villagers surrounding him as well, giving him enough time to breathe, and he always has enough ammo to headshot kick literally every enemy in the starting area, except for two enemies, the chainsaw dudes. As you all know, if Leon runs into a building, he'll trigger a cutscene to get one chainsaw dude. What very few people don't know is that if he runs down towards a door, there will be a second chainsaw dude. If you run into the first building first, it's the only way to get the shotgun and trigger the chainsaw dude and a flash grenade or whatever. Or a standard hand grenade. And it's a decent area to defend himself in, because enemies only pile in through 3 directions, but only all of them can come through one direction. And the shotgun can hold off practically every enemy, but especially the shotgun guy. So Leon can, you know, headshot all the villagers and kick them, and use the shotgun to exclusively deal with the one shotgun chainsaw guy and get money out of it and ammo. And that's the important part. When Leon kills enemies, there's a chance he gets ammo. Village seems to be very stingy when killing enemies. They may not always drop ammo, but they will almost always drop money. Now, once Leon's done with that, he can actually choose to run all the way down there and trigger the second chainsaw guy, kill him for extra money, and carry through the entire game with a lot of money to play with, and that kind of sets you up for a good run practically forever. We are about to discover why Village's opening section does not have this train of thought. You saw from that one section that one enemy took 40 bullets to kill. And this message right here, LS to punish. You are meant to clearly avoid
Okay, damn it.
all enemies. But it is meant to be a callback to Resident Evil 4's original situation of there are too many enemies to fight, Leon has to run. But remember what I said about killing the two chainsaw dudes. Killing the two chainsaw dudes and a whole bunch of enemies reduces the timer Leon has to wait. Leon is, and by extension the player, is rewarded for being aggressively defensive. For playing into how the game works. Incidentally, that big enemy over there is a new type of enemy that you're not really meant to see until much later in the game. Now, let's take a look at my supplies. We have me on caution. 2 first aids, about 26 shots, a knife that does fuck all, and 6 shotgun shells. We are surrounded, and it says survive the attack. I can tell you right now, on anything other than normal, it is impossible to kill every single enemy. It is impossible to kind of juke every single enemy, because on hardcore, the enemies move incredibly fast and they hit very fast. On Village of Shadows, I believe they hit even harder and there's even more. Remember what I described what you could do in Resident Evil 4? You can do that on a fresh, professional playthrough. And you're rewarded even more because they drop even more money. But they will always, occasionally drop ammo. Not necessarily shotgun ammo, but almost always handgun ammo. Leon will never, ever, ever, ever be in a situation where he is completely unguarded and undefended and the player freaks out, unless you, the player, don't know that you're meant to kind of melee everybody. We're about to find out what happens in this game. Remember what I said.
There's no end to them.
Leon can make the timer go faster. You cannot do that in this game. And unfortunately, you can also be attacked. Now, you would think that if you stayed right here, you would be completely fine. But if you just saw before, Ethan has no iframes. If you climb up a ladder, if there are enemies swinging at you, you will be attacked. And you will take damage and you will die. So what's Ethan meant to do? He's meant to survive this attack. He can't fight every single time. And you would think that as I sit here and the attack happens, you're meant to survive it. It makes perfect sense. However, there are several triggers that Ethan needs to achieve for the survival to be successful. The first one is every building needs to be set on fire, a gate needs to be smashed, and a boss enemy needs to appear. You cannot do this all day, and on hardcore, you can't just simply run around, and on Village of Shadows, quite literally anything touches you, it will kill you. So what can Ethan do on Village of Shadows actually? It's this. As you can see, as I continually do this, shit gets set on fire. But there's also another ladder, the original ladder that we saw before. You can also choose to go there. And unfortunately, I fell down. And as you can see, that is the big horror of falling down. Enemies will immediately swarm you. And I've unfortunately wasted 2 healing items. I have no more healing items, and if I die, that's it. Fuck. And as you can see, I'm in a very no-win scenario here. So, I'm gonna restart. As of right now, no one really knows how you're meant to trigger the attack to happen faster.
Is it over?
But the common consensus is that on Village of Shadows, it seems to be increased to a significant amount of time. someone also told me that one way they cheesed it was to board up this window and don't leave, and just continually shoot them through the window to stun them. Now, I'm not too sure if that's a thing you can do, but you can always try.
Damn it.
But I am pretty sure they will come through regardless. We're just gonna find out. As you can see, I got a very lucky crit. And unfortunately, I have no more ammo. And I'm pretty sure they're just gonna break through very soon.
There's no end to them.
Now, as you can see, that didn't work out too well for Ethan. But you can still utilize what we've done by shooting the bags of flour. I'm running in here. Boarding up. What the hell? Oh, that was just straight up not fair. As you can see from back, we are in very, very deep trouble. Now you gotta remember, I blew that guy up with a barrel and then shot him with... Ow.
You're kidding me.
And so there it is. We're in a scenario where the final trigger is spawned, and if I were to climb up there, I'd probably get shot and die. You can also hear that there's a boss roaming around, and you can absolutely kill it. So there's really not much else I can do other than just kind of take this. But as you can see, this is how you're meant to do this part of the village. It is not great. It is not the best, but it is, for all intents and purposes, doable. Now you also just realize that I'm on danger. And Ethan heals himself. But it takes a very long time for Ethan to get out of danger, and as you can see, there are enemies right there. Now I have an idea that can kind of speed this up a little more, because there's one final cutscene that we haven't triggered, and it's to run here. There's an explosive barrel right here, and I'm hoping that if we maybe run here, explode the barrel, and click on the door, it'll trigger the ending cutscene. But there's a chance I'm gonna die doing it. Yeah, there we go. You would think that you could kind of just fight your way out, and you could, in essence, but it's not the best thing you could possibly do.
Over?
Ethan can also trigger the attack from anywhere. He can simply run around and the enemies will start slowly creeping in on him. But the best way to start the timer is to always run through these doors. Wait, what? Trigger this attack.
Okay. Damn it.
So we're gonna do what I was suggested. We're gonna hold here for a little bit. Try to go for their head. To get that crit headshot. But as you can see, this takes an insane amount of time to do. And just like that, I'm already out of ammo.
There's no end to them.
Fuck. But yes, that is the gist of this entire section. It is not a stretch to say that this is literally the hardest the game ever gets. No other section is as hard as this, because you are just simply not prepared. But also, because of things like that where the game might not give you the ammo you need. You have to convert rather than actual bullets. So rather than the 10 bullets I would have gotten, we now only have 15. We also have gunpowder, we also have the shotgun.
Okay.
Where's the enemy? There we go. We're just gonna sit here and count how many bullets it takes to get a crit headshot. We got lucky. We also picked up rusted scrap. Unfortunately, we need 2 rusted scrap. That's 1.
There's no end to them.
Now we are in a situation where we need to bail. And unfortunately, I think because I took too long, I might get attacked boarding up the window again. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to rely on this one barrel to kind of kill everybody that comes in the room, but as you saw, I am not that lucky. They've already broken in.
You're kidding me.
And as you heard, the boss has appeared. I'm stuck. Ethan will not survive direct attack, so you need to do whatever you can and just kind of run. I don't want to quarter myself, I'm an idiot. I quarter myself, I'm an idiot. There's meant to be a cutscene that plays about now. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened yet. You can also run here and try to trigger the cutscene, but if the cutscene does not happen here, we are actually screwed. And there it is. Look at how well detailed these motherfuckers are. Look how very they are. Much like Resident Evil 4, the church bell rings, Ethan is saved, and he's free to go about his business. Now, Ethan had a bandage on him somehow.
Wait.
There it is. The hardest part of Village completed. So, join me next time where the game gets a hell of a lot easier.